I'm Rosemary, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be learning the Newfoundland Fiddle Tune, Coming from the Races, by Frank Marr. I learned this fiddle tune from my fiddle teacher when I was growing up, Christina Smith, and I can't wait to pass it on to you today. I'm going to break up this fiddle tune into a couple of different sections. First, we'll learn the notes, then we'll play it slow, medium, and then I'll add a couple of little tips and tricks to expand upon the tune and make it sound a little bit more professional. Let's get started. As per usual, this tune has an A section and a B section. Let's start by learning the notes of the A section. This tune is in the key of G, which is different from most of the other tunes we've learned, which have all been in the key of D. This means that we have one different note, and that is a C natural. So our C natural is a low 2 on our A string. So that looks like this on our A string, which is something new for us. So when I say low 2, our 2 normally sits up on this tape here, and it's going to have to move back and live right next to our pointer finger. They're going to be neighbors, so our hand will look like this when we're putting our hand on the string, on that A, but only on the A. Everywhere else, it's a high 2. Let's start by putting our 3 fingers on the D string. So we're going to start on a G, which is the tonic of our key. And we're going to start by walking up the notes of the scale. So it's G, and then open A, B. It's a pickup into the downbeat. So we're playing 2 notes before we hit that downbeat of the song. So we start with that G, and we go G, A, B, and the B is our arrival of the tune. So then we go B, B, and then we're skipping a finger, and we're going all the way to finger 3, which is our D, and then we go right back to that open 1. So we anchor that 1 to make that happen, so it sounds like this. And then we lift it off and go to that G note again. So it's G, A, B, B, D, B, A, G. So for fingerings, that would be 3, open A, 1, 1, 3, 1, 0, 3. Let's try playing that all together. 1, 2, 3. Sounds great. Then we'll go to our open A, and then we're going to slur. And we talked about a slur in another video, but in the slur is when you're playing more than one note on one bow. So we're going to start at the tip of our bow. This is the tip, this is the frog. So we're starting at the tip. So we'll go A, B, all in that one bow. So A, B. So the tune sounds like this. A, B, A, G, G. So that's the beginning half of that A section. So it's A, 1, all in that slur, A, G, G. Okay, let's try playing that much together. 1, 2, 3. That's the first half of our A section. Now let's continue. It's very much the same of what we've already done, so. And then the end is different. So it's open A, then G, G. Very simple. So that's how we end it, and how we run it together. You know, I ended the first half of that tune. This is the start of the new tune. So let's try playing that together really slowly. 1, 2, 3. So it's almost deceptive. It makes you feel like you're going to end and then you keep going. So that's something to watch out for when we're doing this. Now you repeat that again when you play the A section, and then we go to the B section. So we already have our A section completely learned. On to the B section. So we're ending on a down bow, and we want to do this pickup on an up bow. So when we land on the down beat, our bow is ready to hit that heavy beat. So we're going to do a slur again. So that's a low 2 on the E string, and we're going to slur 2, 1. So E, F sharp. And then the arrival is our open E. Then E1, slur again. So let's just do that much. So it's up, down. And then we're going to cross over to that A string and put 3 fingers down on the D. And then 1, low 2. Okay, so which is our B, C natural, D, our low 2 again. So this is what my hand looks like. So let's try that much. Slur. Okay, it's a lot. We're getting there though. Then I'm going to introduce something new to you today, and that's a 4th finger. And the 4th finger goes here. It's a nice space between our 3 and our 4. And it's the same note as our open E. So if you find it really challenging, you can just play an open E. But it's a nice thing for you to learn because the 4th finger can be really useful when we're doing ornamentation and adding those extra little things to make it sound more professional. So I think it's really good to learn it. But yeah, our 4th finger has a nice big space here. If you want to, you can add another tape onto your violin that if you put your finger on that note and then you pluck this string, it should sound the same. And it'll be the same way all the way across. That 4th finger is the same note as the next string up. So if you want to, you can put a tape down there so you know, and if you feel comfortable without, then play without. So that included So we're walking all the way up to that 4th finger. When we put the 4th finger down, one of the things that happens is people play with that 4th finger and your fingers sort of splay open like that. But we want our hand to stay nice and relaxed. So you can bring your wrist closer. Don't touch it off the violin, but you can bring it closer so your pinky finger can really stay on a nice angle. You see how all my fingers are on a nice slant here? This is what we want when we're putting our pinky finger down, because that's the way you get the most strength out of that pinky finger. Otherwise, it's a pretty weak finger and it can lock and it gets really uncomfortable. So we want it to be as comfortable as possible. Bring it close. The more curled, the more strength. So yeah, there we go. So we're walking up, B, C natural, D, E, then we go back to our D, we skip to the 1, 3, 1. So that 1 stays anchored. So that becomes just part of the pivots that happen. So, and that might take a little bit. So you might want to just isolate that one section and just repeat it over and over until it really feels comfortable with that 4th finger. So now we go back to that beginning of the B section to do our slur. Let's count it in and play it together. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Then we continue on with the second half of that B section, doing the... So we've got a very similar section. That's all the same, but this time we skip that 2nd finger, go right to the 3, and then open E, back to the D, D, to end. It's a lot to remember, but this is why it's really helpful to have those notes above so you can follow along. Let's try playing that whole B section. Put your bow right at the tip, and we're going to start on that up bow. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Now we've got the whole B section learned. Because we have both, now let's play the whole thing through slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Again. B section. Good job! Let's speed it up a little bit.
One eternity later.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Let's try speeding it up now. Putting 3 fingers down on that D string. 1, 2, 3. Nice! Now, let's add a couple of tips and tricks to enhance the fiddle tune a little bit and make it sound more professional. Now with this tune, there are a couple of ornaments that you can add in. So let's just start from the beginning. You can do a slide right on that 1. Just make sure it's nice and quick. So we start back here and we slide up. So it sounds like this. Slide again. And then this part is something that you can definitely add and is done a lot. So it's A1A, so A, B, A, all in the one slur. So you're slurring 3 notes together. And when you do it fast, it's really just like you're tapping your first finger down, not like you're really planting it down. So let's try that slow from the beginning. And you can do that both times. And then if you repeat it a second time, you can actually do, which I've taught you in a couple of other videos, but basically you go 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, really quick. So you're kind of slurping up into it. So let's try doing that all the way through. 1 and 2 and 3 and... And then the B section is very similar, so we start on that up bow. And then this is where it's similar. It's A1, or sorry, it's E1, E, E1, E3, 3. So that's E, F sharp, E, D, D. So let's try that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and... That's really all there is to add with ornamentation, which is adding extra fingerings. If you want to do some extra accents, sometimes it's nice with this tune to actually land on 2 strings with the bow. So if you wanted to, you could block the A and the D together, and it would sound like this. So then you can... Because those chords are already in the song, so you're just adding those open strings to sort of fill it out, which is pretty common because back in the day when people used to do Newfoundland set dancing, which was big group dances, often there was only one musician in the town who was proficient enough to play at those dances. And so if it was a fiddle player, they would play as many strings that they could together in the song to fill out the sound and make it as loud as possible for the dancers so the fiddle could be heard above all the dancing. So adding those extra strings is really common, and that's one of the things that actually separates a violin from a fiddle. Back in the day, they actually used to make fiddles with the bridge a little bit flatter so you could play 2 strings or 3 strings at once a lot more often because they were often used that way. But now fiddles and violins are built the exact same way. There's a little fun fact for you about the difference between a violin and a fiddle. So let's try playing those accents. And it really only sounds nice on the A section. The B section, it doesn't really line up quite as nice. So I would just do it on the A section and then the B section kind of live on its own. So let's try playing the whole thing through, start to finish, with those accents and embellishments. 1, 2, 3. If you want to end the tune the way it is, you can leave them hanging, or you can find that G and play your G chord, which is when I block that 3 and the 2 together on the G and the D strings. So you're playing a G chord. And if not, a lot of people will use this as a starter tune, and then they can go from this tune into another one and play a full set. So that's another option for this tune that you can make use of. That's it. If you liked what you heard and you want to learn more, hit that subscribe button, and I'll be posting a new tutorial every Monday and some fun tips and tricks on Fridays every now and then as well. If you're looking for a free PDF of the music, you can click the link below in my description and it'll send you to a page on my website with all of the free PDFs with all of the tutorials that I've ever done. Thank you so much for listening. See you next week.